Welcome, Rasa community, to the live stream. And I never know how much at the beginning gets cut off, but based on my testing, it's around the first 4 seconds. So I'll just repeat that. Welcome, Rasa community, to the live stream. Today, we are going to be working on our assistant. So we've had it on DigitalOcean for like 2 weeks now, and it's public. You can go check it out if you want. The link is in the YouTube video from 2 weeks ago. I think is the most recent time I published it, but I haven't been pushing the link super hard because it doesn't work all the way quite yet. We're not exactly there. So to sort of show you where we are so far, let me open this up and pop it over. Here is our droplet on DigitalOcean. So what this looks like, will really depend on what cloud provider you're using. I just happen to use DigitalOcean because we have some tutorials that you can go back and watch if you're interested. So I didn't have to show the whole process live on screen, which is always a little nerve-wracking. I got my concealing buttons ready for when we do stuff with password phrases and stuff. So the assistant's has been up, and if you go to the IP address, what you should see, my question is the IP address in my clipboard? For sure it ain't. Oh. Hi Nick, hi Mina, welcome, welcome, welcome. What you should see is this, right? A Rasa X instance, which you can't interact with because you don't have the password, but I do have the password. So let me just quickly type that in just real quick. All right, and we're back. So now we are in our Rasa X instance, and you can see some people have previously interacted with the assistant, and we have some conversations we can go through and annotate and work with. And hopefully we'll be able to do that today because we'll finish the thing we're working on, which is our assistant is like medium complex, I'd say, in that, hi Enrique. Oh, it caught up in the middle of good morning. All right. I don't know. I keep meaning to put a little stinger video in the front of the live stream so I have a little bit more buffer. Just, I haven't done it. I've been busy. Lots of stuff on my plate. So what our assistant does is it answers questions that I get a lot. And I know this is a little bit small, so let me zoom on in. And one of the questions that I get asked a lot is to recommend resources. So we have in our assistant a little database. And when I say little, I do mean little. We're starting with that minimum viable product here. So you can see I have, I believe, 8 total things that I'm recommending. And the database has the name and like who made it and the URL and then the topic. So whether it's NLP or machine learning or Rasa, and over time I'll probably add more topics and more, different types of content. So we've got some videos, we've got some courses, we've got some books, and I really want to expand this over time, but the small one needs to work first before I start putting more information in it. And in order to query the database, we have our assistant have a specific intent that it can recognize. So this is a class of things that people could say to ask for a resource. So here the person is asking for an NLP book. Spoiler alert, this is me testing. And you can see that I have detected that the topic they're looking for is NLP and the resource type is book. And this will query, triggers this action query resource, which takes the information, generates a SQL query, and then runs that SQL query across the database, takes the information, changes it into a human readable format using templates basically, and then passes it back. And looking at this interaction, you can see, okay, yeah, the NLU is working right. We're getting the stuff out. Okay, yeah, the action's being triggered. So the dialog policy is picking out the right thing to do next. But what's not happening is the Python code isn't being run. And the reason is because all of this is running on a Rasa server that contains all the mechanism to make the conversation go. But you can also have other servers, and if you want to run, you know, generic code, you need an action server for that. And this one, you know, our whole setup is pretty simple. We have one action server, it's running Python. And I, last time, had a little bit of a struggle to add it to my Docker Compose because I was following the Helm instructions because I can't read. Yeah, hi Karen, welcome, welcome. Or Karen, sorry if I'm saying that wrong. So, with all that in mind, today we are going to be getting our image, our action server image, up into our Docker Compose, not our Helm, I was following the Helm steps again, into our Docker Compose environment. And hopefully, then when we have this interaction, when the action is triggered, this query resource, it'll actually, you know, have the image to point to and be able to run the action server. So that's what we're doing today. And we have done some stuff previously, so let me scooch this on over. So we do have our image up on Docker Hub, actually, and I don't... Let me scooch this on back. So it's on called Personal Website Bot, so if you wanted to go check out the image, you could, and all the code is public on my GitHub as well, so if you... I wouldn't say it's like polished to a high sheen, but what we've got so far works locally, so that's where we are right now. And we have our, you know, our image up and ready to go into our Docker Compose. And very kindly, some folks helped me out previously. So Greg on the CSE team, I went and asked him for help, and he was very generous with his time and helped me out with that. And also Professor Reed on Twitter also contacted me. He was like, "This is where your thing goes." With all that said, we've already SSH'd into our Linux VM on DigitalOcean, and I believe we want to be in the etc folder, and let me just double check my notes, but I am pretty sure that that is the case. All right, Docker Compose random selection, and let me double check my other notes. If you haven't figured it out quite yet, I have not spent a whole lot of time working with Docker. I say that. I've spent a lot of time learning about Docker, and I'm at the point right now where I'm like, okay, I kind of understand what's going on, but when I run into complex trouble, I need help. That's okay. It's a learning journey. We'll get there. All right, so we want to be in etc/Rasa. Hey, look at that. Fantastic. All right, and then the specific file that we want to update is dockercompose.yaml. So actually, let's just cat it, just to see what's in there. And cat will just print it all out. I never know how much folks are familiar with Bash. All right, what do we got in here? One sec, I'm gonna turn on secret stuff real quick, just in case. There we go, I can turn on the audio for this. So I'm just looking through that. Okay. We got the rabbit credentials, and I'm just scrolling through here with my secret stuff on in case I accidentally reveal something sensitive, but I'm pretty sure we are good to go. It looks like everything is hidden that would be sensitive. All right, fantastic. With that in mind, back to me and my face. So the specific thing that we need to do is we need to add an app section. So we've got the credentials there. We've got the Rabbit credentials, the Redis credentials, Duckling. We're not using a Duckling server. That would be for like entity extraction. Specifically entity extraction that's faster with regexes, and when you want somebody else to build the regex, which is always in my case, almost always. Rasa X stuff, Rasa X services, and I believe at the end, services, okay, we should include a section called app that we do not currently have. All right, there we go. Okay, so what we need to do is we need to change this section. And what I want to change it to is my specific image on Docker Hub. And after that, I'm going to need to restart using Docker Compose Restart. I got my little notes from Greg down here. I think I've mentioned it recently, but the CSE team is fantastic. They're so good. I mean, honestly, I think they're worth the enterprise subscription just to be able to get help from them. Just saying. All right, Nano Docker Compose. Rachel, you're gonna edit in Nano? Yes. Don't judge. I only need to change one thing, and I'm so hopeful that this is gonna work right away, and we can spend the rest of the time annotating our conversations, and it's all gonna be no problem and super easy. And you know what? I live in hope. I could use a little bit more space. This would also be a little bit easier if I weren't zoomed quite so far in, but then y'all wouldn't be able to see, so what's the point? All right, so this image is currently the default image, and I want to replace it with my, my Docker Hub image, which is this one, except instead of tag name, it should be first_commit. And if I wanted to update the image and like I pushed another Docker image to my Docker Hub, then I could update just the tagline and then restart again. So let's copy that. And as I remember, it's should it be in quotes? Yes, it must have to be in quotes because the rest of the servers are in quotes. Can I paste? I can. Oh, so nice. All right, and then this one was first_commit. So I'm being very careful because I'm not great at spelling things consistently always. C-O-M-M-I-T. C-O-M-M-I-T. All right, fantastic. All right. So let's save that. Yep, just overwrite. Great. And then let's exit. Fantastic. And now, let me go back to my notes. It was Docker Compose Restart. Okay, fantastic. And I had a values file that I'd added that I can just get rid of. And I believe that was this one. Yeah, so I added a values file that would have been useful if we were using Kubernetes, but we're not. So let's just delete that. Goodbye. All right, move that to recycle bin. Fantastic. All right, so now that we've updated everything, Docker Compose restart. So that's going to restart our whole instance. And just in case, I'm going to pop up the secret stuff because I don't know what's going to print out right now. Ugh. Oh, I'm so hopeful this is going to work. Hello, Habib. How are you doing? How's everybody doing? Hopefully you're doing okay. Staying healthy, staying safe. Having a good week. Quick update. Nothing has happened yet. It's thinking real hard. And we could probably actually check in with our Helm as well. So let me actually just pull that over just in case, you know. All right, turn that back on. So you can see here's where I was starting to like mess with it and play around with it. Actually, this specifically would have been, no, that was after I SSH'd in. This would have been when I SSH'd in. So stuff's definitely happening. It's thinking. Right. Nick says, have you created an image of the Rasa SDK for the action server in Docker? Do we need it? This sounds like a very complex Docker question. So my image is of specifically my action server, and as part of it'll probably be fine. I can just kill my server if I need to. So in my action server, I have my requirements, and right now it's just this particular package. And then I'm importing the Rasa SDK. Why are there problems in the file? Is it because I should also have done the Rasa SDK? Well, noted. I think I may have to update my my Docker image, and I think I also should have put the Rasa SDK in here. Although, did I? No, I don't think I do. I don't think I need to... Okay, well, I'm just going to leave it as is for now, and we can add it later if we need to, but I'm pretty sure that installing Rasa X includes installing the Rasa SDK. I'm pretty sure. And the SDK itself is not that big. So it's fairly lightweight, and I think I'm pretty sure we installed it. I would have to go back and, like, re-look at all my look at all the code that came up when I was installing it in the first place. Restart done. He says it was a busy and fun week. Oh, good. I'm glad to hear that. Hope you're doing well. I'm doing okay. Hi, Wolf Rage. Welcome. You're right. Boop-a-doop. Moment of truth. If I... Okay. So it looks like it logged me out, which is a good sign, because it means, like, that's reasonable when it's restarted. Hi. I was going to say Isabel, but I think that's Ibzeal. Welcome. We need an image of the Rasa SDK. I'm pretty sure that was added in the Docker Compose manual install. But if it wasn't, and that's what our issue is, we can handle that then. All right, let me quickly do some hidey. Mute myself real quick. Okay, I'm back. Okay, so we've got this again. Fantastic. Now, if I talk to my bot, what happens? So the action was triggered, but we didn't get the output. Lots of stuff in the inbox. That's all cool. Okay. If I were looking for the logs... Where would I look? Ah, right there, probably, in the folder called logs. All right, let me just hide this real quickly. Just I said probably there's not going to be sensitive stuff. That's good to know. All right, just see what's in here. What all's in here? All right, so it looks like the logs are actually empty for me. Is it because I didn't turn on logging? That seems likely, huh? I've never used Docker before, and I've heard about it. Is it a free tool? It is a free tool. So Docker is open source, and it's a specific type of container. So containerization is a way to sort of wrap your code up in a nice little, like, single environment that you can, you know, transport around. Or, like, the really nice thing about Docker is that you can make a bunch of copies whenever you need them and then remove them and, like, direct between them. So if you need to scale a lot, containerization is really, really helpful for that. And there are other types of containers, but I think Docker is probably the most widely used. Right. We need an image of the Rasa SDK. Blah, 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 blah. I wonder if I should actually, so let me try this because I feel like this could actually be the problem. So I'm just really quickly going to, oh, I think this is just like a linting thing that like from isn't like, this seems like stylistic things rather than things that will actually break our system. So I am okay with that. Okay, so let's try. You need to create a Docker file in the action folder with all the requirements.txt. Initial from sentence Docker file to build an image is already based on Rasa SDK. All right, sorry, let me read that one more time. The initial from sentence in a Docker file to build the image, I guess, is already based on the Rasa SDK. Let me see what that restarting happened. Okay. So I remember when we were building the image that we'd added the SDK and then we removed it. No, we'd added built-ins and then we removed it. Oh, yeah. I think okay, so thinking back to this, I only work on this project an hour a week. So sometimes it takes a little bit of time for me to get back in gear. So I think that we actually did originally have the SDK in our requirements, but we removed it when we removed from because that's a built-in. Sorry, we removed random because that's a built-in. And SQLite, which is also a built-in. Oh, did we actually use random? I don't remember if we used random or not. Yeah, Enrique said, sorry, Habib says, I'm good. Thank you for asking. How are you doing too? Yeah, I'm doing okay. Doing okay. All things considered. Oh, just, I don't know. Things are rough for the world right now, and that's, that's not great. But I'm focusing on what I can do, Okay, so save this. So maybe that will do it. All right. Okay, so let's try creating a new image that also has the SDK as a requirement and see if that does anything. Yeah. And also let me double check what Greg said. Okay. Ooh, actually, I don't think we need to. So let me just quickly. First of all, let me go back to the right directory. That's going to be important. All right. And then I just want to really quickly Docker compose, check in here. And I'm pretty sure that the reason that we don't need to is because we have a dependency. Yeah. Okay, so I'm pretty sure we don't need to because it depends on Rasa production. And I'm pretty sure that Rasa production has the SDK in it. So I guess my question then is, what are we running into vis-a-vis problems? So one thing that it could be is I could be looking at the wrong endpoint. So let me quickly look at my endpoints. Boop, boop. 5055. It's definitely app. It's definitely 5055. Is this for local or is this also... So my question here is, when this endpoint is hit from within the assistant in DigitalOcean, is that going to be like the local app, or do I need to update this? Guess what time it is? It's time to go to the docs. Rasa docs. Anyway. Alright, so specifically, Rasa X. Ooh, how long's that been in there? You can just tuck up. There you go. We don't need that in the shot. Okay. So we are specifically looking at. I think I'll probably be in customize your deployment, and I believe because we're using Docker Compose. Yep, there's a whole section here. All right. Oh, there it is. Fantastic. Remember how I said I can't read? I can. It's just a special challenge for me. If you don't have an image for your custom action server, follow the instructions in the building. Okay, check. We've got an action server image. Let's double check that we're doing this right. You know, Docker Compose. Yep. Install. Yep, we've done all that. Docker Compose. We've done all that. 5055 with a little browser tab search on the output. Ports. Okay, fantastic. So what this tells me is I'm pretty sure we did the right thing. So if we look at dockercompose.yaml, we should see this expose 5055. Yeah. Okay, fantastic. So, looks like we're doing that right. Fabulous. Action endpoint, 50551. Yep, okay, and this is right in the endpoints.yaml. Yes, absolutely, that's correct. Fantastic. So far, so good. And we should be able to interact with our webhook. So this is locally. So I should be able to replace this with I should be able to replace this instead of having that localhost be the IP address. Wow, sorry. Sorry, my brain was like, it's IP. And then I was like, no, IP is intellectual property. That can't possibly be the correct acronym. I'm sure we've got the wrong acronym. No, that's the right acronym. So the IP address for my site and be able to interact with it with curl in the command line, which I'm not going to do because curl is weird in the Windows version of Bash or PowerShell specifically. But I should be able to do that. And we know that that's working because we can talk to our system. So if I say just like, hi, help me. This is the correct action. It talks about like what the assistant can do, and that this is being worked on during a live stream. So if you say something, it could show up. Okay, so far so good. I think we're on the right track. Cool. Replace the default app image with the Docker Compose override YAML, which is the file that we are currently in, right? Docker Compose. Okay, so does it need to be to avoid changes in your Docker file becoming overwritten when you update versions? And we haven't updated, so this is going to be a problem for us in the future, but it shouldn't be a problem for us now. But because I'm feeling generous to future Rachel today, let's quickly handle this right now. So just quickly, we're going to add a new script. Oh. I just want to exit. Okay, nano. All right, getting there. Okay, so I just opened that file I just created, and I'm going to want to there we go. Etc. to Rasa and apply your changes there. Docker will automatically take that file into account and override any attributes with changes from the override file. And all that I'm going to do is services app image, and then I'm going to put in the image from Docker Hub. Let me pull this back. So this one, in quotes. Except instead of this, it's going to be first, C-O-M-M-I-T, first commit. Okay. And I don't think this should change anything right now, but what it should do is help us not run into problems in the future. So that's good. All right. If your Docker containers are already running, take them down and start Rasa up again. Okay, so let's try that instead. Maybe that was the particular problem, because I just restarted, and maybe I need to actually take them all the way down and then put them all the way back up. So let me do that. I cannot type. Oh, I'm already running a street. I don't need to do that. Copper compose down. All right. You know what? We can absolutely handle that. So I didn't say what the version was because I didn't think we needed to, but we do in fact need to. So it's going to be version 3.4 in single quotes. That I'm just copying directly from the doc. All right. And then write that out and then close. Yep, same one. Yep, okay, fantastic. Now we need to take it down and then restart it. So it definitely could be the old turn it off and turn it on again and see if that helps. App is the name of the service you're exposing with Docker Compose to point 5055. Ah, thank you. Helpful. Helpful, helpful. All right, fabulous. Guess what time it is? It's time for up. With the flag that says D. I don't know why that's in there. Docker compose flag D. What does it do? I want to know. Add the D flag to run everything in the background. Okay, so like not verbose. Oh, I'm so nervous. Not that nervous. It's a small image. It's a small instance. Like the VM isn't that big, so even worst case scenario, it's just not going to be a huge problem. I've got lots of seatbelts on. All right. And we should have to log into Rasa X once again. Fantastic. Good sign. Good sign. I'll be right back. All right. Let's give it a shot. A NLP book. I could have done that here with y'all. I didn't need to make sure that was happening. Oh, I was thinking. I like that it's taking a little bit to run because I didn't spend a whole bunch of time optimizing my action. And there's a little bit of fuzzy matching that might take a little bit to run as well. So I think this is a good sign. D for daemon mode. What's daemon mode? In a multitasking computer operating system, daemon or daemon is a computer program that runs as a background process rather than being under the direct control of an interactive user. All right, good to know. I learned something today. Sometimes I wish I'd taken like networking courses, not like social networking, but like computer networking in grad school. But instead I took a lot of machine learning and actually I took like a lot of stuff in the statistics department and like Bayesian modeling, and I had a really good class in causal modeling that I really enjoyed. Why did I use fuzzy algorithms? Great question. So specifically, I was using fuzzy matching. And the reason is when users are asking for something, right? They don't know what's in this database. And I want to give them, this is taking long enough that now I'm starting to get a little bit suspicious. So I'm just going to restart this conversation and try again. Can you recommend a video? Users don't know what's in the database, right? This isn't like an in-house database. That's not ideal. Don't love that. But this isn't an in-house database where someone knows everything that's in it. So I'm trying to find the thing that's closest to what the users ask for in terms of string edit distance, under the assumption that it's better to return something than nothing, right? So even if it's not exactly what you asked for, I think it's more helpful to be like, hey, I couldn't find exactly what you asked for, but this might help, rather than being like, error. No matching fields in my SQL. And that's just my preference for this particular use case. What did I do? Control R in the shell to search for the command in history. Oh, that is a good tip. So again, the conversation part is all working as intended. The action part, not so much. In fuzzy matching, Nick says, can we use extract one or extract with limits, even matching for a score like 80 or 90, etc.? Yeah, it'll depend on the library you're using to do it, but yes, absolutely. I will say, huge caveat, looking for things by string edit distance has a time complexity that does not avail itself to efficiency. Yeah, particularly for long strings. So I would recommend, if you're really going to go all in on fuzzy matching, you may want to explore alternatives, like some sort of embedding in k-nearest algorithms instead, just because, you're basically like seeing how many characters do I need to change to get from this string to this string, and it's a lot of comparisons. So for this, because people are putting in very short words, I don't think it's a huge problem. I'm not that worried about it. But if you are putting in longer text, I wouldn't do it. So just a little thing. Daemon is a background. It plays as a process in the OS. Ah, thank you. Let me check my notes again. Restart it. Yeah. Okay, so I want to, at this point, I think that I'm really only going to resolve this if I have logs. And let's look at the docs. All right, redoing that. Fantastic. SSL and encryption. I'm not super worried about that right now. Certification, authentication. Could be something that we do at some point. But I'm not super concerned about it. Environment variables. Okay, and these are all set in the so those are all being set in the Docker Compose YAML. Rasa variables, same thing, being set in the Docker Compose YAML. I could change all these if I wanted to. I don't feel like I need to. I think we're pretty good there. What I'm interested in is, can I set logging here? And I don't know if that's the case. So that's Rasa containers and how other services affect them. It's not going to be it. Okay, browser X API variables, username, password. Credentials, path, model directory, end-to-end file path, Postgres schema. RabbitMQ don't care, Redis don't care, Duckling don't care. Okay. What about logging? Because we do have, right, we do have this logs folder in here, but it is empty as far as I can tell. And I'm running as root, so I should see everything. I'm basing issue only if we have multiple answers we're using fuzzy wuzzy. For simple fuzzy matching, I suggest fuzzy wuzzy watchable with Leviathan distance extra. Yeah, so you would use fuzzy matching for like ranking, and if you have two equally ranked things, then I would randomly select one of them, would be my approach there. Is it hacky? Maybe, but it should be pretty efficient. Let's just see. Logging, Rasa, X, action, server, Docker, compose. I'm sure there's probably a forum question about this. All right, let's see. Woo. I'm running from Puja. I'm running Rasa X on Docker. I'm running through Docker Compose. Me too. In action.py calling API to fetch data. Earlier it's working fine, but now no response in Rasa X interactive learning. Okay, this is my problem. How do we solve it, Puja? I checked the logs of the action server. No issues are there. How'd you do that? How'd you check the logs? Where are the logs? Okay, we can figure this out. In Rasa X, feed dots keep blinking, no response. How to debug the issue? Does Rasa X respond to any message? In the action server, when I say these lines, it prints all app ID as well as hello. I'm going to print where? We'll check in the log production. It says error Rasa server, unexpected error. Okay. This looks like it is not, in fact, the error that I have. So, Tan says, use Docker logs service name to see the logs. Oh, all right. I'm just gonna do this in secret real quick. Just in case, you know, I'm trying to be safe. And I believe is the service name app? Okay, no, it's not. Is the service name the full image name? I'll turn this back on. So the override services app image. So it must be the full image name, right? E.g. Docker logs, Rasa worker 1. I see. Okay. Oh, okay. I need to get all of my services, which is, oh, do I remember this? I'm pretty sure it's PS. Yes, I was right. Nami, Rasa, full, Rasa X, Redis, Duckling. Okay. Rachel, why didn't you check this before? Shh. Hush. Don't ask me questions. I don't have the answer to. Okay, so it is in fact up and running, which is good to know, which makes me wonder if the problem is in there. Okay, so it was Docker logs and then the thing. No such container. Helpful. Container ID. Entry from 11 minutes ago. Up 11 minutes. 15. Okay. Maybe I can use the container ID? Fabulous. I'm seeing error messages. This is sweet nectar. Thank you, Tan. This is super helpful. All right. Here's your warning. Your versions of Rasa and Rasa SDK might be incompatible. Okay, time for, you know it, you love it, the compatibility matrix. If I had an air horn effect, I would use it here. So the compatibility matrix. So it's Rasa X. And you gotta zoom out more so you can see this, and then it's, there we go, compatibility matrix. All right, what are we using? Rasa 2.4.0. Whoop. And Rasa SDK version 2.5.0. Oh, yeah, that is in fact a problem. Okay, so what we should do is update Rasa or downgrade the SDK. One of the two. Although that's a warning, so this may or may not actually be a problem. Let's add that to do our to-dos. So let me check this. Here's my readme. To do how to add an image to Docker Compose rather than counts. We got that. Write doc strings for our Python functions. We'll get around to that. And that. Okay. To do update Rasa in Docker Compose. How to add an image to Docker Compose /etc/Rasa add image path on Docker Hub to Docker Compose or Docker Compose dot override .yaml. All right, excellent. So just a little note of what we've done today so far. Okay, but that was a warning, not an error. The warning error came unable to open the database file. During the handling of the exception, another exception occurred. Executor, action.py, name error, not defined. 127. Okay, so it looks like the problem is that we are not able to actually undefined variable error pilot, undefined variable. Okay, I'm just not going to deal with that right now. So it looks like the issue is our SQLite database, boopity boop, is not being accessed correctly. So that's a problem. So it's not in, oh, that makes sense. That makes sense. Okay, I know what the problem is. Okay, so in this okay, so the problem is my action server is being run separately, right? And in my local environment, they're both being run from the same environment, from the same like place, right? The same place in the file path. And in my this one, it's not doing that. Yeah. So the problem here is that I'm pointing to a database that doesn't exist, and because that's happening before we do the things that would trigger the thing that's like an error that would then produce the text that's like, hey, I can't find what you're looking for, that's what's killing the server. So we succeeded. basically, we have succeeded in getting our action server up and running. It is correctly being triggered. The code is running, but then we're getting an error. Change that to done. It's just what I call them. And we're going to do a new to do. Figure out where your SQLite database is. To check. To check running Docker PS. Nope. To check logs. Docker logs. What specifically was it? So I just want to make sure that I can go back and do this again. Container ID. Get from PS list. I hope you enjoy my very informative notes to myself that are going in this public repo, but we'll tidy it up. Once the assistant's working well, I'll go back and I'll clean it up. We can do it together, have sort of a chill day. All right, fantastic. So, good news, action server up and running. Bad news, I need to figure out my database. And I think what I'm gonna have to do is I'm just gonna have to host the database separately. The image, I guess. Enrique says, I haven't seen the error. Perhaps the app needs a DNS transition. Tricky thing is to add translocation in etc. hosts as local host. Oh, interesting. Okay. So I can tell you all my expectation is. My expectation is that so in the Rasa X instance, right? So, in the production, I guess the production or the worker, they should both be the same. So in both of these, I expect to have this, where's my dang thing? I expect to have a folder called edudb, and in that folder have this. However, that's not when the action server code is being triggered, it's making a call to the action server, and the action server image doesn't have the SQLite database in it. The action server image has, the actions.py in it, and it has, these requirements in it. And we don't need this, actually. And we don't need that specifically because it depends on / requires the Rasa production image. So all of the Rasa stuff has already been taken care of for us. We only need to do the specific things that are specific to our particular action that you don't need to run just like a regular Rasa action server. Okay, so the problem is when the call is being made to create a connector to the database, I am pointing it to a file location that doesn't exist, and that's why I'm getting the error. Or I'm pointing to a file location that the action server doesn't have access to, which could also be the error. And I think that's what Enrique means when he says, specifically that we should, I think that's what Enrique means when he says that what we should do is we should point it to localhost in the Docker thing. So copy the sentence in Docker file. We build the image to move has to move the DB files inside the image. Yeah. That's what's happening. Maybe use Docker and Docker Compose to host your database. Yeah. Yeah. I think we're getting to the point where things are a little bit trickier, and it's going to require a little bit more Docker foo. And as I remember, there actually is a section in here about configuring databases. Rasa X is officially compatible with the following databases. PostgreSQL. This specifically is about databases that are storing the history of Rasa X conversations that you might use for, you know, your own internal metrics or tracking or dashboards or whatever. That's not what we're doing. We're doing a separate database that our actions are interacting with. And that's going to take a little bit extra spice, I think. Good news, we've succeeded. It works. Less good news. Yeah. I have created something that works locally, but not in a hosted instance because of file paths. Which honestly is extremely data scientist of me. That's just classic data scientist move. So, and this is all about encryption and certification. Yeah. This is a problem for future Rachel. I don't think we're going to solve it today. I think that this will be what we handle next week. Or I might be nice to myself and we might do conversation annotating next week. But if I'm being deeply honest, I should probably have the action's working. The code is being called correctly. The code in the action that is running has the error, which is great. This is progress. Love to see a different error message. Always makes me happy. Thanks, y'all, for your help. Thank you, Professor Reed, for your help. And thank you, Greg, of course, for your help. And yeah, DNS translation seems right. So I am going to just like make a note of that and look up what it means and do some more learning. From chat. Thank you, chat. Managed database. Although I'll bet DigitalOcean will do it for me. You're on to something. Yeah, that would be very helpful. Copy sentence in Docker file. When you build the image, has to move the DB files inside the image. All right. And then also from chat, app needs DNS. I'm pretty sure that's domain name service. I'm a little bit sure that's domain name service. Translation. Add translation in etc/host boost host as localhost. And then this is actually one thing, so I'm gonna put these together and do some research on my own. DigitalOcean managed database. That might be the simplest solution, or at least the one that's easiest for me. All right. Yeah, I know there's a little bit of a lag that's making it a little bit rough. Yeah, unfortunately, if I reduce the lag too much, then I cut in and out, and it splits the videos more often, and that's a huge pain in the butt and just hard. Thank you. We did it. We did it a while ago, and I just couldn't find the logs, so I didn't know that we did it. But now I know where to find the logs, and I put it in my README, so it's going to be there for me in the future to look at when I forget again, because I definitely remember doing this in the past and immediately forgetting it. All right. We did the thing. Our action server's up and running. The database thing is not up and running. We're going to have to do that in the future next week. So something to look forward to, and I will look up some of these things and read more about them. So thank you very much for joining me. We will be back next Wednesday, office hours. Chris D is going to be back again. Fan favorite. I mean, everybody who comes on office hours is a fan favorite, IMO. With your questions, and if you have Docker questions, Chris definitely knows more than I do. Yeah, please ask me your NLP questions and your machine learning questions. And then on Thursday, before the live stream, I think I mentioned last time it was going to be this week. It's next week. Next Thursday, we're going to have the release webinar. So there's a link to sign up in the YouTube community tab to check out. And then at Friday, we're going to continue with this. So come on back next week and we will keep working on it. And I will learn about DNS in the meantime. All right. Thanks so much for joining me today, everybody. Thank you for your help. I really appreciate the DevOps assists from everybody. Yeah, and we'll be back with more next week. Have a great weekend. Stay safe and healthy. And I'll talk to you later. Bye.